You probably didn't click on this video by accident. Maybe you've been feeling distracted lately, restless, glued to your phone, scrolling through dopamine hits like a digital slot machine. And now you're wondering if a dopamine detox is the cure. It sounds compelling, doesn't it? Strip away your indulgences. No TikTok, no junk food, no gaming, and somehow you'll reset your brain, reclaim your focus, become the version of you that reads books, starts businesses, meditates in stillness. But here's the uncomfortable question: does it actually work? To answer that, we need to dismantle the myth. Because the phrase dopamine detox sounds scientific, but it's not. The term was popularized by Dr. Cameron Sepaw, a Silicon Valley psychologist, but even he admits it's a misnomer. You can't actually detox from dopamine. It's not a toxin, it's a neurotransmitter, and it's essential for everything from movement to motivation. Without dopamine, you wouldn't even get out of bed. So what are people really doing when they go on a dopamine detox? They're abstaining from what they call high dopamine behaviors: social media, porn, video games, processed food, anything that gives them instant gratification. The idea is that by removing these overstimulating activities, your brain recalibrates. You become less dependent on novelty and more sensitive to the simple, quiet rewards of real life. It's an appealing narrative, especially in a world engineered to hijack your attention. But here's where it gets more nuanced. Dopamine isn't about pleasure. It's about anticipation. It spikes before the reward, not during it. That's why you can scroll for hours and never feel satisfied, because the dopamine hit isn't in the content, it's in the chase. This is why the concept of a detox, as it's commonly understood, can miss the point. You're not just fighting addiction to a substance. You're fighting an environment and a brain that evolved to crave stimulation, then got placed in a world that never stops delivering it. So what actually happens when you go cold turkey? For a day, maybe a weekend, you lock away the screens, say no to sugar, and try to sit in silence. You're expecting peace. What you often get is anxiety, boredom, a creeping sense of discomfort that feels almost unbearable. And that's the first sign that something deeper is at play. Because discomfort isn't a malfunction, it's a message. You're not bored because there's nothing to do. You're bored because your brain has forgotten how to derive satisfaction from effortful, slow, meaningful experiences. Reading a chapter, learning a skill, making eye contact in conversation. These things take time, and time, in the digital age, feels like a luxury we forgot how to enjoy. So does the dopamine detox work? If your goal is to reset your dopamine levels, not exactly. Because dopamine isn't like caffeine. It doesn't build up and then flush out. It's constantly being produced and recycled. But if your goal is to interrupt compulsive behaviors, to regain control of your attention, and to remember what life feels like without constant stimulation, then yes, it can work. Not as a scientific detox, but as a ritual interruption, a symbolic reset. But here's the key. One weekend without your phone isn't going to rewire years of compulsive patterns. That's like skipping dinner once and expecting to lose weight. The real transformation comes not from abstaining, but from replacing passive consumption with active creation, replacing the immediate with the intentional, and most importantly, replacing shame with curiosity. Because when we fail to change, when we relapse into scrolling, binging, avoiding, we tend to blame ourselves. I'm weak. I have no discipline. But discipline without understanding is a dead end. You don't need to be harder on yourself. You need to become a better observer of yourself. Notice what triggers the compulsive urge. Is it boredom? Loneliness? Anxiety? Now here's the radical idea. Don't run from it. Don't numb it. Sit with it. Observe it like a scientist, not a sinner. When you do that, something strange happens. The craving starts to lose its power because you're no longer unconsciously reacting. You're consciously responding. This is the deeper work, not detox. Awareness, not rejection, replacement. And not perfection, but practice. You don't have to delete your apps forever. You don't have to live in a cabin in the woods. You just need to learn how to be bored again, without panic, to rewire your relationship with discomfort. Because underneath all the noise, your brain isn't broken. It's just overwhelmed. And silence, intentional, sacred silence, can be its most powerful teacher. So don't detox to punish yourself. Do it to remind yourself. Remind yourself what it feels like to wait, to focus, to choose. Not because you have to, but because you finally can.